Good morning, Michael. Thank you so much for coming over this morning. I have read your profile and I'm already a fan. You have been working immensely with a lot of effort in the health industry. You know what? A lot of people spend their young days, their youth days, and their 30s, 40s, 50s gathering wealth, and they forget about health.
Yep.
uh, when they gather enough wealth at 60s and 70s, they do not have health to enjoy the wealth.
That's
uh,
that is so true. I saw
yes,
that with my in-laws.
yes. So you have been doing the health business. You're primarily focusing on naturopath and making people healthy from last 35 years in your business. 35 years back, how did you decide that I want to focus on health? I want to make health as my mission. What's your why? How did you do that? How did you do that?
Well, what happened was back in the 60s, because I'm older than I look, but back in the 60s, there was an expression of get your act together. And trying to find my way in life during that period of time, I was in a conversation with a friend who said to me, why don't you take the energy out of your stomach and put it into your head? And then maybe you'll get your act together. So, what he was implying was becoming a vegetarian. And I did. And it's been 50 years since then. So, I've not had meat or fowl in 50 years. And probably for the first 25, I did not eat seafood either. I've been a vegetarian, a vegan, a fruitarian, a raw foodist. You name the diet, you name the cleanse, I've done it. But it was that conversation that got me started down the path.
Excellent.
And
So
then go ahead.
putting your energy from your stomach to your head. How does that imply that you should turn to a vegan?
Well, because it takes a lot of energy to digest meat,
Oh
pure and
yes.
simple. Okay. And that was his, he happened to be a produce buyer. So of course he was very vegetable oriented. And his whole thing, in terms of conversation, it takes a lot of enzymes to digest that meat. In fact, part of the problem and one of the causes of colon cancer is because of the putrefaction of the meat, because your body can't digest all of it. Unlike an animal that has a 5-foot intestinal tract for rapid expulsion of what it can't digest, the human being has got 25 feet. And so it takes time to go through. And during that time, you're having putrefaction, fermentation. And so, yeah, it's just not a healthy diet. So being
This is very
vegetarian has been wonderful.
excellent, excellent. And you have been adhering to it. So why did you make it your mission to also make others healthy?
That came about because I was going to get fired from a job. And, it's interesting how life unfolds different paths for you depending upon circumstances. And because I wouldn't steal for the man I worked for, it was a rebate kind of a thing. We didn't carry the product. He still wanted me to sign the certificate swearing that we did. Well, that's fraud. So I decided, and I told him, no, I wasn't going to do it. And he said, right then and there, you're fired. And I said, wait, my wife is pregnant. I've got an 18-month-old daughter, and we're pregnant. No, you're not going to fire me because I won't steal for you. I will be out of here very shortly. And this is around Halloween. And I said, I'll be out by the first of the year. So I went home that night and what am I going to do? I'm going to lose my job. So a friend of mine said to me, there's only 3 industries to go into: food, clothing, shelter. Well, my grandfather was a builder, and I've stepped on enough nails helping him to know that that's not what I want to do. Prior to working in the automotive industry, I was actually a clothing buyer and had in my youth, I was about, clothing. So I had done the clothing thing, and being vegetarian. So my friend said to me, well, think about health, or food, because you guys are vegetarians. So the next day I went to work. I asked every rep that came through the door, do you know anybody in the health food industry? And lo and behold, he did. I ended up interviewing and been in the health food industry now for the last 45 years.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you mentioned in your talks on YouTube and other places that you focus on a holistic health. It's not just physical health, but mental health, spiritual health. You focus on all dimensions. So how do you help people heal mentally?
I can't help them heal mentally. They have to heal themselves. And it's a process of going within and questioning. Why did I do that? Why do I think this way? Where does that thought originate? Why do I have this perception or that perception? What I do is I try to get them to understand that, one, the mind is a goal-seeking device. So it is constantly seeking to fulfill subconscious expectations of who the individual thinks they should be. Okay? Now, those concepts are buried deep within. So what the mind does, like a computer, creates a program to validate the concept. We call those behavioral patterns, or as I call them, patterns of behavior. And patterns of behavior are designed to validate the concept as being true, even when the concept is detrimental to the health and growth and well-being of the individual. And an example might be, that somebody who believes that they should be a failure, even though and you may know somebody like this, who's bright, articulate, good looking, has all the attributes of being a wonderful success. But time after time, they will get to a place and, you know what? I don't really want to do this. I think I'd rather do that. Or they will get fired. But there will be a logical, rational, justifiable reason why they don't complete, why they don't succeed, why they don't grow. So my job is to help them identify those patterns of behavior. And so I have a method and technique that I share with people, and it's this. In a blank sheet of paper, I'll just, kind of blank sheet of paper, okay? On what left-hand column, write down what you think your role is. And for us guys, it would be, and I don't know if you're married or a father, but I am. So, what is my role as a father? My role as a husband, my role as a son, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, a nephew. So all of these roles are in my subconscious mind as to how I should be in each one of those relationships. In the right-hand column, you write down, where does that come from? Who is like that? Are you like your mom, your dad? Are you the opposite? And even that has wonderful power and detrimental power, because every child seeks its mother's acceptance, because mom represents the doorway from the spiritual domain into the material domain. And so we think the only way to get home is to keep that doorway open, that we have access to it. So I'm going to be whatever it is my mom thinks a guy should be, even if it works against me. So boys will be like their dads, or the opposite. girls will be like their mom or the opposite. And because one will use approval as a form of acceptance, the other will use rejection as a form of acceptance. So those are the kind of things I try to share with clients so they can begin to get a foundational understanding of where their disease comes from. You know, they talk about genetic and hereditary diseases. Well, genetics is a whole other animal, okay? And even though I subscribe to incarnations, okay, because and so then a soul that would come through and have a genetic issue chose that couple to be their parents because it provided that genetic disability, because it's an opportunity to learn. Life is an opportunity to learn, grow, evolve into the next level of consciousness. Okay.
And those are some very deep thoughts, Michael. I mean, I'm able to understand a lot of it primarily because I've read all of this, a lot of this in different books kept behind. You also mentioned about genetics, and you mentioned about diseases. So I've seen a lot, I've seen and read and watched that a lot of these diseases that come to people are 95% of them are caused due to stress. And people don't know whether it's, let's say, skin issues or even cancer, even let's say heart attack, diabetes. Stress causes all of these, most of these diseases. How do you help people get relieved out of their stress?
Well, first they have to identify the stress.
But
okay?
Do you agree that stress causes most diseases?
Yes, I would say so. Yes and no. So let me go about it this way. What stress is the way that you respond to what you see and hear. Okay? And that's based on, again, concepts in the subconscious mind. Now, what stress does physiologically is it compromises your B vitamins, which are technically coenzymes, and your body runs on enzymes. So if your B vitamins are compromised, guess what? Systems are going to break down. That's one aspect. Calcium, magnesium, and zinc are also compromised by stress. Okay? The adrenal glands are the stress centers of the body, so they are compromised. When the adrenal glands begin to fail, blood pressure goes up, hypertension, immune system comes down, so every kind of mold, fungus, bacteria, virus has an opportunity to manifest, and then the sugar levels cannot be regulated. That's why people get tired and exhausted. They could sleep 12 hours and get up and still feel tired because it's low blood sugar brought about by adrenal exhaustion. Now, the stress may also lead to wanting your comfort food. So whatever, depending upon how clean your food is, will really determine how quickly you get sick. The body's going to break down. You know, it's a divine piece of equipment. However, it's not immortal. Only the soul is, but the body will break down. So the more contaminated or corrupted the diet is with chemicals, therein lies the relationship to stress and the foundation of aging and disease. Because the way the body works, being a divine creation, whatever is in your bloodstream, it will utilize as building material. So it can incorporate a toxin. The toxin will corrupt the cell, alter the blueprint or the manufacturing of proteins, because the body runs on enzymes and proteins. Now you have the foundation for aging and disease. And that's not even taking into consideration the emotional component. That's just
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
physiological.
Absolutely correct. And if you break down the word disease, it is dis-ease. So
Absolutely.
you are not comfortable. Your body is not comfortable. Excellent, wonderful, great stuff going on there. So when did you make this transition to e-commerce business? And how long you been selling online?
Probably, yeah, maybe about 20 years ago,
Wonderful.
but never really went after it because the life that I enjoy is due to the independent retailers who gave me an opportunity when I first came into the industry. And then when I first started my company, that was 38 years ago. So I have a degree of loyalty and respect to them. So I don't compete, even today, I do not compete against them. Unfortunately, because of what e-commerce is, I have to be online. There's no way around it. But I try to give my retailers a better discount so they can compete with the online companies like Amazon. So, we've been there, 10 years, at least 10 years, I believe, on Amazon.
So you were on Amazon for a very long time, and so now do you want to focus on an e-commerce business, or do you want to still work with your retailers?
Working with the retailers. In fact, I've created a new program for them that is built around naturopathy. It's called Dr. M's Naturopathic Wellness Center. That it's a whole program that goes in their stores, and they get an ongoing discount that allows them to either match internet or beat the price so that they can continue to have walk-in customers.
Very interesting. That's a very good philosophy, since those people have been working and helping you for a very long time. Just because suddenly internet has taken over a lot of things, your loyalty towards them should not reduce. That's a great philosophy, Michael. That's a great thing you're doing. So having said that, people I'm sure come and buy it from you online as well. Is that number increasing, decreasing? How do you focus on them? How do you retain them?
Well, we do have some people that come directly to us. And I actually, when a retailer asked me what my percentages were, so I'm still 50% brick and mortar. I'm 45% internet and 5% direct. So I don't want to compete against the stores. So we don't even discount our products. You can buy my products less money on the internet, or go to one of the stores that has a Dr. M's Wellness Center, and you'll get better service, more information, and a better price than the internet.
So when you say you sell on internet as well as D2C, D2C, I'm imagining it's your website. But what do you mean by internet? Do you mean Amazon?
Oh,
and
e-commerce. That's
E-commerce.
e-commerce.
So what you're saying is 50, about 50% is e-commerce, 50% is retail.
Yes.
That's a good bifurcation. So how do you make your and you're not offering too much discount on e-commerce, because you would also want the retailers beat the price which is being shown online.
Yes.
So how do you retain your online customers, online shoppers? What's your retention strategy?
Well, one of the things that we do is that when somebody buys from us, we send them samples of other products. We include literature to educate them not only about the product they bought. For instance, like somebody will buy blood pressure. So we have a trifold that talks also about cholesterol as well as sugar metabolism. Okay, so there's educational piece that goes in there. There may be a sample of sleep because there's, people have those kind of issues. And there's also a little card in there that gives them a 20% discount on their next order. Now, the reason we go 20% is because that is what our MAP policy is as far as e-commerce goes. Nobody can discount the products less than 20%. And of course, you always have violators because people are greedy and they want all the money.
Yes.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, that happens. But let's talk positive things in the business. So how has the growth been last 18 months? E-commerce growth.
Unfortunately, it's been great. And I know that's, because the reason for it being COVID, and that's the unfortunate part. But yeah, business has been very good, and people, and it's hurt the health food stores, obviously the brick and mortar, but it's been very good.
Wonderful. That's very good. Good to hear. So what's been the toughest part of your e-commerce business? What do you think is the toughest part? The toughest part of the e-commerce business?
It's really a good question. I think there's so much noise out there that it's hard to capture attention. So I think marketing and advertising is very difficult. We're fortunate in the sense that we never relied on marketing and advertising. For me, it's always been word of mouth. My products speak for themselves. Like I said, we're a 38-year-old company. A lot of my formulas, I'll say 90% of them, one, grew out of my practice. Two, I've never changed them from the day I created them. Why? They work. So I'm of the mindset, if it ain't broke, don't mess with it. Leave it be. They work. We have, we've grown by word of mouth. I guess in e-commerce terms, we've grown organically.
That is super. That is super. How big a fan you are of email marketing and content writing and SEO and ads? I know you mentioned organically, so I'm assuming you don't do much ads, but email marketing?
I just signed up with iHeartRadio to promote through email my concept of the wellness centers. So I'm directing it by zip code to the people that have bought the program. They have the display up. And so I'm just going into their marketing area directly and recommend, in the store's name and addresses in the ad itself. So I don't know yet, but I'm optimistic.
Excellent.
So we'll see what unfolds.
Excellent. Wonderful. And you have been using Shopify. Have you been using Shopify from day one, or have you changed your platforms over the time?
I honestly don't remember or know. I don't do that part of it. I have other folks that help me with the company. I don't even run the company, so to speak. Okay. My nephew does. Okay. He's with me 30 years. So okay. He knows more than I do. I'm more concerned about education and ensuring that my products are done right and that they're therapeutic and that they work. And so my primary is education. I write, I do consumer lectures, I do trainings. To me, the more you know, the more you grow. Life is about knowledge. And the more you know and the more you understand, the more in control you can be of your mind and your health. You need to understand why you got sick and how you can fix yourself. So those are my concerns.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So do you make yourself, or do you do contract manufacturing?
Now we do contract manufacturing because of insurance.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned about you haven't changed your product in the last 35, 38 years because they work. So because you don't want to mess it up. But how do you innovate new products? What's the innovation strategy? How do you keep up with the times and new issues, new diseases? What's the innovation strategy?
Well, interestingly enough, a lot of the new things that are coming out are on some levels a man-made, man-adjusted approach to something the body should be doing. And my mind, when you bring in a bioidentical hormone as an example, okay, because no matter how much you desiccate or defat a gland, if you bring that into your system, you're still bringing in a hormone. You bring a hormone into the body, you're training the body to be lazy. Whatever gland is responsible for manufacturing that hormone, you're saying, don't go to work today. I got it handled. Here's the hormone. You're good to go. Well, over time, that works against the body. The hormone, being that it's one, external and artificial, or coming from an animal, trains the gland to become lethargic, lazy, like a muscle that's not worked becomes flaccid. Over time, it atrophies. Now you're dependent either on the external man-made garbage, or you give your body what it requires so that it can build the hormones that you need. You nourish the body as a naturopath, which, by the way, is the only true healing modality because it is the only one based on nourishing the body back to balance and harmony. So I don't jump on bandwagons. I don't necessarily look at quote unquote new products or new ingredients because it's not necessarily in keeping with my basic fundamental philosophy of nourishing the body and giving it what it requires so that it has to do what it has to do.
Makes sense. Make complete sense. Absolutely. What you said, it makes complete sense. I also watched one of your YouTube videos. You mentioned that vitamin C is not that important, and with B complex, and vitamin B is more important. Did I understand correct?
From me,
Yeah.
no, vitamin C is essential for so many different reasons. And the main one being we have to bring it in from the outside. We don't manufacture it. The B vitamins we can manufacture in our intestinal tract. However, once you've taken a antibiotic for a cold, a flu, or whatever, if you have not replaced the probiotics with, acidophilus, lactobacillus, those bacteria, that flora, then you're not manufacturing B vitamins, and that too runs the body down. So both of those are vital. The B vitamins with a good, healthy intestinal tract, you're getting some. Not nearly enough based on today's stresses and corrupted environment. But no, vitamin C is essential.
Excellent. Michael, one last question for you before we wrap up. What are the two health tips you would give to your audience today?
Run that by me again. The two
health tips. Health.
Yeah, no, I got it. One, I would say, take a look at my two favorite vitamins. One is vitamin A, because it is truly your first line of defense. When COVID came out, everyone talked about vitamin C, D, and zinc. But the truth is, vitamin A is more important and more effective than the three of those combined. Wow. And the reason being, because every mucous membrane that you have that's exposed to the environment, every gland, every organ, the outer cells, the epithelial cells are manufactured with vitamin A. So vitamin A is your first line of defense.
All right.
Second, pantothenic acid. Why? Because it supports your adrenal glands, and that's the stress. And that's what keeps your blood pressure normal and your immune system up. So you need to have a healthy adrenal gland. It's also considered on some levels a master gland because it also talks to the pancreas to secrete insulin and regulate that. It also talks to the liver to ensure you have enough fuel to have vitality. So eat organically, eat healthy, get away from the fast foods because they're death, they're horrible. Minimize the amount of dairy you bring in, minimize the amount of meat you bring in. That's more than 2 tips, but that's me. So
Excellent.
those are some of the things that and read good books and look at good movies and keep the negativity. Sometimes you got to turn off the news and turn off the TV. Those are some health tips that I would share.
Wonderful, wonderful. You're a great giver, Michael. Thank you so much for giving away your secrets of your long and charming life which you are living right now, and giving away those secrets to younger folks who wanna focus on health now. I think they have been procrastinating and pushing health goals towards the other end of the spectrum. But I think they got to pull those goals up and work on their health. Thank you so much for coming over this morning. Really appreciate you coming and giving your time to us.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much, Michael. Take care of yourself.
You take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Thank you very much.